Welcome to the NCHLT end of 2022 hand dryer video. 2022 is my first year in the hand dryer community, and I've recorded a ton of hand dryers this year. So I've decided to make this video going over my finds as well as what happened in the community. Firstly, let's take a look at what happened to the community after I joined. Back when I first joined the community, everyone referred to hand dryers by their importer, and whenever I would mention the manufacturer, I would get a lot of angry comments. I also forced myself to hate the accelerator, even though I was one of the first people to start liking them. At the time it was just me and Alex who mentioned the truth about hand dryers. However, in August, that changed when UK Hand Dryers joined YouTube. He made a video of an ATC cheater entitled it, "The Most Biased Towards XL Knockoff." This motivated me to create the video titled, "The Bias in the Hand Dryer Community." I suggest you watch it if you want to know more about this event. I mentioned how everyone liked Air Forces over accelerators for pretty much no reason, and how people are biased towards certain importers. And also the angry comments you get when you call a hand dryer by its real name. Careeridus Ziground is the most guilty of this. After I made that video, everyone in the community started to call accelerators meh, then epic. This even had an influence on the American community. And putting the manufacturer and importer in the title of the video became more common. And Airstreams... yeah, they hate it now. However, there was still the hand dryer guide, which had an insane bias towards Western companies. I made a video reacting to this guide, and to say it was controversial would be a massive understatement. I'll just let these images speak for themselves. Luckily, the community has mostly calmed down. However, there are still examples of bias. And that's the current status of the community. I wonder how things will change in 2023. Now let's go over my favourite old and modern hand dryers. In the old world, my favourite would have to be this 30-year-old hand dryer located at the Rocket Pub in Acton. Despite being installed 30 years ago, it's still in pretty good condition, complete with the vandal-resistant cast iron cover. I think the weirdest thing about this pub is the toilet setup. There is a men's toilet with paper towels, a ladies' toilet with an Advent branded Coariete. You would expect this AA48 is located in the disabled toilet, but there is no disabled toilet. This is actually unisex. I wonder if it's always been that way. My favourite modern dryer would have to be the Velay Pebble. It is equipped with a HEPA filter, it has a fast dry time, and even has a cute little animation that plays with mute. This hand dryer is located on board the Victoria of White ferry, and it replaced a Canon branded Zinda Eco. Speaking of Victoria of White, let's talk about weird combos I found. The Velay Pebble was next to a Canon branded Zinda Eco, which had initial stickers slapped onto all areas of this hand dryer which mentioned Canon. That makes it an initial Eco, and if you ever say Canon Eco or Zinda Eco, you're factually wrong. And I'll delete your comment! We now go back to London, specifically Kew Gardens, for our next bizarre combo. This time, we have an A48 and a Newlec branded and a 5000. What's weird is that 10 years ago they were two Newlec 5000s, but one of the automatic hand dryers was replaced with a push button hand dryer. I find it very amusing, extremely amusing in my opinion. It's basically the hand dryer equivalent of
Go back, I want to be monkey!
You thought the weird combos ended there? You'd be terribly mistaken. There's also this weird Dyson combo featuring an AB01, AB07 and AB14 altogether, located at Gunwharf Quays in Portsmouth. And this crazy combo featuring Dyson Airblades AB03 and AB14, Bobbrick Eclipse and We Love You Euronics Dispenser, located at the Peacocks Shopping Centre in Woking. But by far my favourite combo would have to be this white AB03 and RA548, located at the men's toilets on the top of the Brighton Centre. Brighton Centre features loads of rare dryers, but sadly I couldn't film them all. Speaking of the Brighton Centre, let's talk about rare hand dryers. I filmed a lot of hand dryers that can be considered rare. The first one is located at some pub on the Isle of Wight. This hand dryer is slow and does a very poor job at drying my hands. And it uses the same motor as the SM48 but with worse sensors. I believe these are made by a French company. This is the only time I've seen this hand dryer in the UK. I saw this hand dryer once before in Spain. There's also the Vela Pebble I talked about earlier, however they are starting to become more common. A proper rare hand dryer would be this Murdy Clinics Optima that I found in my local Starbucks back in June. This is located in the disabled toilet. The unisex apparently has an accelerator, but the unisex is keypad locked. Whenever I ask for the code, I'm always given a radar key. The Optima has since been replaced with a PHS Airstream. I would be happy, however, the Airstream is made out of Lego bricks, and it looks like these are what all Starbucks will be using in the future, judging by that custom sign, including high traffic locations which currently have steel and high-speed quarriettes. Another rare hand dryer would be this Touch Button Air Dry Classic. These Touch Button Air Dry Classics, both located on board trains built in the 1980s and 1990s. Most trains from around this era have had their dryers replaced with makeshift vent things. Woolgate Uniwashers or JVD Masters, so I suggest you film these dryers whilst you still have the opportunity. Somehow I found some extremely rare undiscovered hand dryers. Those being the Savertex Eco Curves located at Camden Market and Gatwick Airport. The one at Camden Market has an LCD screen, whereas the one at Gatwick Airport didn't due to them being inside of the wall. As I'm the only enthusiast that's used them, I'll let you know my opinion on them. They're almost good, however they have poor sensors and they're made out of ABS plastic, albeit a much thicker layer than the Airstream. More undiscovered dryers coming up! This is a Fast Dry HKQA. It features a very unique design and a blue light which actually has nothing to do with germs, a big misconception within the community. This hand dryer didn't perform the best, and it was in a pretty worn condition due to it being located next to a pub that I have no idea how to pronounce the name of this train station. Let's go back to Gatwick Airport. This is a World Dryer Smart Dry Plus. None have been discovered yet due to PHS Warner Howard not distributing them. This hand dryer has a green spec logo in place of the PHS Warner Howard logo, implying that it was directly from the US. However, the model number is K48, meaning it's the version for 230 volts. The hand dryer was on the medium setting due to it being in the disabled toilet, however it was still powerful. I of course mentioned the Brighton Centre, which has a ton of rare hand dryers. On the ground floor, there were 5 RAs and an Air Force right next to each other. Sadly, most of the RAs are in bad condition. But interestingly, it looks like one of the RAs has had its cover replaced recently, as it features a PHS label and sticker with installation instructions. However, the RA548 was discontinued nearly 20 years ago, so it's not a new dryer. The first floor features another N&C hand dryer, but this time it's of the more common 2200 rather than the QA. What does QA stand for? Disabled features a Vortex, which features a metal casing as opposed to the ABS of its successor. There was also an extremely old Newlec hand dryer in the ladies' toilets, and I heard some cinders, but sadly this was all I could find. Hopefully I return again to film the rest of the hand dryers. Before we talk about the top 5 best and worst hand dryers, I wanted to quickly talk about our hand dryer god. This is a Stiebel Eltron HTE4 from around 2007. This hand dryer is slow and it takes about 30 seconds to dry your hands. Once they're fully dry, your hands will be burned. This hand dryer is rare, but it's not that good. This specific one is in bad condition, as its motor is starting to fail and its plastic is yellowing, although my camera doesn't pick it up that well. ABS yellows after a certain amount of time, which is why computers from the 1980s and 1990s appear yellow. I wonder how the PHS Airstreams will look 10 years from now. Oh wait! Now let's talk about the top 5 worst hand dryers I filmed. At number 5 we have the PHS Airstream. These hand dryers are crazily overrated, they are made out of Lego bricks and have extremely poor reliability. The Airstream Pure is overpriced, and the Whisper is basically a worse version of that Quiet Air Force knockoff. A lot of enthusiasts want the Airstreams and Air Forces to be discontinued and replaced with the VertiDry and Smart Dry respectively. At number 3
At the number 4 spot we have the Quiet Air Force knockoff. Luckily this hand dryer is discontinued as I can't see it anywhere on Quiet's website. This hand dryer is extremely slow, incredibly loud, and doesn't even have warm air.
At number 3 we have these stupid makeshift vent hand dryer things on board trains. These produce a weak stream of cold air and the only thing they do is make your hands less wet, without actually drying them. I think you know what number 2 is. This stupid hand dryer is loud, slow, and ugly. This hand dryer has an unknown manufacturer as Kingwee, Zinda, and Quiet all seem to distribute it, although I feel like the Chinese government makes this earbomb. At number 1 we have the Interhazer 850 watts hand dryer hotel commercial hand dryer electric automatic induction hands drying device household appliance by our Hand Dryer Gods Company Limited. This hand dryer is slow, made out of Lego plastic, and the internals are the same as a hairdryer. I am so glad this hand dryer is extremely rare in the UK. Now let's talk about the top 5 best hand dryers. At number 5 we have the A48 and its many variants. I love these a lot because they're built like tanks and last forever in low traffic toilets. However, in terms of dry times, it's not the best in the current day, which is why it's in number 5. At number 4, we have the Bel Air Pebble. The Bel Air Pebble is a very nice modern hand dryer. I already mentioned why this hand dryer is epic, so let's move on. At number 3, we have the Mitsubishi Jet Tower. This hand dryer is the perfect combination of quiet and powerful. The only negative I have is, you guessed it, Lego plastic. At number 2 we have the Smart Dry Plus. I already mentioned why this hand dryer is epic, so let's move on. At number 1, well, the Accelerator. This hand dryer is the fastest on the market, has an extremely durable casing, is extremely reliable, and is made in the USA instead of China. Oh, not just that, it's also got like a little error code system that you can detect exactly what's wrong, rather than it continuously going when the motor brushes are worn. It's got so many modern high-end features. No other hand dryer can quite compare to the Accelerator. No wonder they say it's still the best in the adverts. And that's the end of 2022. 2022 was a crazy year, full of crazy events both in and outside of the community. I love how 2022 was spelled out as MMXXII in Roman numerals. I think the biggest thing in the hand dryer community would be the discontinuation of various traditional hand dryers. Cast iron covers for the Model A, air dry Cortos, and XL dryers hands-on have all been discontinued. We will always remember these hand dryers in the community. They were well built and lasted forever. Sadly, not everything can last forever, and it was time for them to go. Let's hope that their successors can continue the heritage. 2023! Let's hope even more wild things happen in 2023. Perhaps we'll finally see an easy dry, or an over 2, or maybe a Comac. Who knows? Only time will tell.